Today on our 2018 Lincoln MKX, we're going to be installing Roadmaster's Diode wiring kit, part number RM-15267. This diode lighting kit is going to allow your vehicle to receive all of the signals from your RV while being flat-towed. This is going to include your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps, so it'll be DOT compliant in all states. The kit includes diodes that will tap into the wiring that goes to your taillights. This will make sure that the signals coming from your RV don't interfere with the signals on your vehicle. It's a one-way check valve that prevents those signals from going the other direction. And as you can see here, we've got our left turn signal transferring from our RV back to our vehicle. In addition to that, we have our right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. Included with your kit, you'll get the diodes, all the wiring required to run the diodes up to your connector here, your 6-pole connector, and the 6-pole to 7-pole harness that's going to allow you to connect your vehicle to your RV. Our fascia was removed when we installed our base plate, so we left it off to make it easier to install the rest of the components we're going to need. We'll begin our installation at the back of the vehicle by removing both the driver's and passenger side tail lamp assemblies. To start your removal, you'll want to remove the center plastic piece next to your tail lamp. We'll use a flat-bladed screwdriver to pop that cap off. Then we'll use a T25 Torx bit to remove the screw. We'll not need to pop the taillight assembly out. I recommend using a trim panel remover tool to get behind it to help you pry it away. We'll strip back the sheathing to our connector. We'll then use our trim panel remover tool to pop our connector off. And we can disconnect our tail lamp assembly to make it easier to connect our diodes. Repeat that same procedure on the other side. We'll be cutting the gray-orange wire and the violet-green wire. These will be pins 2 and 3. We'll then strip back each of these wires. We'll be using the violet-green for our tail lamps and the gray-orange for our turn lamps. We'll now take our airline tubing. We're going to feed it down between the vehicle body and the bumper until we get it down below so we can use it to feed our wiring up. We'll use some electrical tape to tape our wiring, making sure that you get all the way above the top of it so it doesn't catch on anything as you're pulling it up. Then pull your wiring up until we've got it here in our compartment. We'll now need to separate each of the colors of wires here. After you've cut each one, you can just pull it back, separate it. Now strip back each of your wires from the harness you just ran up. On 2 of your diodes, pull off all of the spade connectors. Make sure you're also using the one with the 1 yellow connector because we're going to need that one for this side. We're going to take our brown and white wire and we're going to twist those together. And that's going to crimp onto our yellow terminal. Then on our yellow wire and on each of the wires over on our vehicle, we're going to crimp on blue connectors. We're now going to connect our diodes. We'll connect the connector side of the gray and orange to the outside on our diode. We'll connect the other side of the gray and orange to one of the insides of our diode. And since this is our turn signal wiring, we're going to be connecting the yellow wire to the other end. For our other diode, we'll be connecting the out to the connector side of the violet and green, connecting the vehicle side to the in, and then our yellow connector will connect to the other end. We're not going to need to pull back our green wire as this is going to be running over to our passenger side. So I recommend pulling up a good amount of wire, stripping it all back, and you can pull that wire back down. And we've got our green wire to run across. We're now going to take our wire and we're going to fold it in half And we're going to cut between the white and the brown wire to allow us to separate our white wire. We're going to separate our white wire until we have enough to go across and up into our passenger side taillight area. We'll then cut our white wire. We're now going to route our green and white wire over to our passenger side, and we'll show you how we routed it. We routed our wiring up onto the frame. There's a place where you can zip tie it there. And then we just went straight across and zip tied it to the frame on the other side. Now we'll take our green and white wire. We're going to tape it to our pull wire. We're going to run it up into our passenger side tail lamp area. We'll then pull our wiring up into our compartment, and we can make our connections now. On our passenger side, we're going to separate our wiring, and we're going to be cutting pins 2 and 3 again. This is going to be the white orange and the green orange wire. We're going to strip back each end of these wires, as well as our white and our green wire that we ran up. We'll now take all the blued spay terminals off of our diodes, and we're going to crimp one onto each of the wires. We'll now connect our diode with the outside to the white orange. We'll connect the inside to the vehicle side, and we'll connect the other end to our white wire. Our other diode, we're going to connect the outside to the connector end, and then we're going to connect our 2 remaining wires to our inside. We can now plug our taillight assemblies back in and reinstall them. I found if you take your diodes, you put them kind of in the corner back here behind your connector, kind of stuff them down in there, your lighting assembly will fit just fine. And plug your plastic cap back in. Now we'll need to run our wiring up to the front of our vehicle. So I'm going to run this wire now and I'll show you how I routed it. Make sure when you're routing it that you avoid any excessively hot items, such as your exhaust, or any moving components such as your steering and suspension. We routed our wiring up above the exhaust, above our rear suspension, and we came down and went down the side of our fuel tank. Once we got in front of the fuel tank, we ran it into the undershield here. We followed that undershield all the way up until we come out here next to our brake lines. We used the fish wire pull trick that we used in the back taillight assemblies to get the wire from down here up into our engine bay. We took our wiring down alongside our battery and our air intake. We ran it down underneath the headlight, down across in front of our AC condenser until we come out here where our 6-volt connector is mounted. We'll separate our white wire, and we're going to cut the white wire. We're going to peel some of it back. We'll now strip off the end here. Then we'll slide on the ring terminal that comes with the kit, and we're going to crimp it on there. Now using an 11mm socket, we'll remove the nut on the ground wire here. If the whole stud comes out, that's fine. Place our ring terminal on it, and we'll tighten it back down. Once you get the diode kit wiring ran up and your breakaway switch mounted, you can go ahead and put your fascia back on. So we'll be doing that now before we make our connections to our 6-pole connector. You'll only have a breakaway switch if you're putting a braking system on your vehicle. This breakaway switch came included with the braking system. We can now take our 6-pole wiring. We can trim it down because we don't need this much. So we're just going to cut off our excess. And we'll need to separate each wire here. We'll have to strip back each wire. We'll then slide our rubber protector over our wiring, and then we can install each wire into our 6-pole. We'll start with the one labeled TM. That is our taillight circuit. That'll be our brown wire. We'll just poke that wire in. and then tighten the screw back down using a small Phillips head screwdriver. Now we'll install the next 3 wires. Our white was in the one labeled GD, yellow in the one labeled LT, and green in the one labeled RT. We'll then put some dielectric grease all over our wiring to help prevent corrosion. This will help keep out moisture. Slide our protector over that. And we'll seal up each end with electrical tape. We'll then install our 6-pole connector into the bracket on our base plate. These bolts should come with your base plate, and we'll tighten them down with an 8mm socket. Now we can plug our 6 to 7 pole wiring in, and now we'll operate all of our signals from our RV. So here you can see we've got our left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. With everything working properly, we're ready to hit the road. And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's diode wiring kit on our 2018 Lincoln MKX.